Greetings, listener. Please enjoy the unintelligible ramblings of your favorite dynamic trio, Arva, Farah, and Westy, as they share some of their more annoying pet experiences. Welcome to The Unintelligibles.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Unintelligibles, which we're now celebrating our 1-year anniversary of starting this podcast. Woo!
Yay! They didn't know. They forgot our anniversary, guys.
I didn't know. It's okay.
Westy, the creator of the podcast, did not know that it was the anniversary.
Here's the deal. I'm dumb.
It's hard to keep up.
But I'm a woman, so I always remember an anniversary.
Oh, okay.
Look, my own anniversary is way too easy. There's no effort to bring it.
Yeah, to be fair, we oh, never mind. I can't reveal the trade secret. Never mind. We just forgot that this was the 1 year. Time flies. I'm your host, joined by my lovely two co-hosts. Oh my god, I was gonna do the intro again. Farah and Westy.
Hello.
Hi.
How are you guys doing? How's your week been? Your really long extended week.
Ugh. The weather has been hell.
Yeah.
It went from we had snow, and then it got just warm enough to rain, and it got below freezing to snow again. So there was a nice layer of ice like last week.
Yup.
And we had so much trouble getting home one night because night shift, home around 30 in the morning, colder, and we actually got stuck on our street and started sliding away, and then like slid up onto the sidewalk. Actually have a video of it. AFK's seen it, and we're just like, oh, there we go, and we're just going, and I had to get out of the car and stand on pure ice, a sheet of like 1/4-inch thick ice, and push this car up a hill, so we can start rolling back down the hill so we get some traction to get out of there.
Oh my. That's always how it works here. Whenever it snows here, it like rains the next few days, and then it either snows again or it gets cold enough where it turns into ice. It's awful. I wouldn't mind the snow so much if we had like a normal snow pattern where it just snowed like once and the snow stayed nice and fluffy or as nice as it can be, and it doesn't rain. Because as soon as it rains, it's awful. Snow's the worst thing ever. Because then the snow also gets wet and gross and slushy, and then it's heavy and...
That doesn't usually happen here. It usually just is cold.
Man.
But
Yeah.
it was at the beginning of the week, the 1 week that it's been since the last episode. It was like -50 with the wind chill.
Jesus.
And then it's like 4 degrees now. So it's been quite the
It's been such a
drastic
change
in temperature, like significant. And before it got so cold, it was very like not very cold either. It was like -6-ish.
Yeah.
This is in Celsius. And then it just got super fucking cold, and I had to drive really far away for training for 2 weeks. But it's only been 1 week. Lol. And so it was freezing cold, and the rental vehicle I got did not start, and it was this whole thing. So that was fun, and I got frostbite on my ear at the gas station.
Damn.
But it's healed now. And then, yeah, now it's like 4 degrees outside and sunny. So everything's melting. It has been getting to freezing at night, like just barely. So it's really icy outside. But I'm home now. I drove back yesterday from training. I'm donezo.
Woo.
That's nice.
Now I have, and then I have more training at the end of February.
Oh. Is it
week.
another trip you have to take?
No, thank God. So the way
Okay.
that they determine where it's gonna be is based on who need, because so it's for the entirety of Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba, and they base it based on
Oh.
who needs to go. So like I went out of province for this one because majority people that needed to go were from outside of the province. So they just picked the place that has the most people from that area. But this time it's a bunch of people from my site. So it's like super close to where I
Okay,
live.
that's nice.
Yeah.
I was gonna say otherwise that's so bullshit. You have to go all the way out of province twice.
No,
in a row.
I was
I'd
gonna
like,
be
sorry.
so sad because I didn't know until like earlier this week because they hadn't confirmed that where it was gonna be yet. But yeah, it's super close because it was a whole day of driving there and back,
Yeah, no
and I
shit.
got like a mild food poisoning on my last day of training. So I had to drive all the way home, like, and it's like it's like, I don't know if you guys know Saskatchewan and Alberta, but like 90% of it is like these tiny little towns that are like
Yeah.
population like maybe 1,000 people, and they're very sparsely placed. So driving home, it's like every half an hour or so you'd pass like a village or something. And I'm like, please don't shit yourself on the way home. Like that's all I'm asking. That's all.
Yeah.
It
That's what
didn't
we had
happen.
when we went to Saskatchewan on a road trip once. Like halfway through Alberta, the car just shit down and just shit its pants. And we're like, oh yay, haha. Thankfully, it shut down at one of the smallest towns, but the town was like a town of like 250 people.
Yeah.
Like genuinely, everybody in that town knew each other and knew each other's names. And it was so fucking weird, but it was nice because once again, they also had a rental car station. Oh my god, we were like, there's 250 people here. We don't think there's gonna be anything, but there was a mechanic shop and there was also a car rental place, and we were like, oh shit, okay. So we managed to rent a car and like finish the trip, but the trip is also so boring because the closer you get to Saskatchewan, the flatter and
Dude,
more
it's so boring. There's
empty it
nothing.
gets.
It's the most boring
Oh.
ever province in the world. It's so
Yeah.
flat. Apparently,
Yeah.
it has a desert, which I didn't know, like with sand dunes. Did you know that?
Apparently.
I had no idea. Now I want to like go there, but I had no plans of ever going to Saskatchewan, ever.
No.
If you ask any Canadian what the most boring province is, every single person will tell you Saskatchewan.
Yeah. Because everything else has something to offer.
Yeah, Saskatchewan
has nothing. It's flat, and also every drive takes like 2 hours.
Yeah, everything's super spread out, and it's some of the places are really sketchy.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I was forced to visit, and it was fucking cold when I got there, and I was just like, this sucks. Fuck you, Saskatchewan.
I'm in a shitty province, and it's cold, and I had frostbite in my ear, and this car sucks.
Yeah, basically. But it was good.
That's good.
I mean, yeah, hotel life isn't great because I always have a really hard time sleeping. The only good sleep I
Especially
got was the
solo.
last night that I was there, which is funny.
Oh, of course. That's always how it works. I feel like you spend
Yeah.
the whole trip like struggling, and the last night you're like, best sleep ever, and you're like, oh great, now I gotta go.
Yeah. I slept for
that's so great.
12 hours last night. I was like, I'm not even gonna set an alarm. I just need to catch up.
Yeah, I think that's
But
fair.
yeah, and I was there by myself. I was the only person from my site on the training, and I'm very like bad at making friends. I'm pretty shy. I like to be approached, but I don't like approaching other people. So I had a whole weekend there where I couldn't just drive home because it's too far. So I was by myself for the weekend, and the one day was good. I went to like a museum and stuff, but there was like this they had like go-karting and stuff there, indoor go-karting,
Oh,
but I was like, meh, I don't really want to go by myself.
yeah, that's fair.
The second day, I kind of just chilled in my room. Surprisingly, was able to manage to stream twice on hotel Wi-Fi, which I was impressed by.
Oh yeah, I saw a few times that you went live, and I was like, what?
Yeah.
She's done it.
And I didn't drop any frames.
Shit.
I mean,
That's actually
obviously, I
really
lowered my bit
impressive.
rate and my frames, but
Right.
it's actually pretty decent. I'm surprised.
Yeah, no shit, especially for a hotel Wi-Fi. Oh my god.
I know,
I
right?
can't even watch streams on that shit
This
usually.
and the same hotel whose Wi-Fi went out twice, and they had to reprogram my key card to my room twice because if the Wi-Fi dies, all the key cards lose their programming.
Oh, I didn't know that. I mean, that makes sense, but that's brutal. Everyone comes in and it's just like constant. Hey, my key card doesn't work. Hey, my key card doesn't work. Hey, my key card. At one point, I feel like the front service desk is just like, let me guess, your key card
They
doesn't
knew
work.
when I went up to the front desk. They knew what I was going for.
Yeah, that's crazy. I didn't actually know that. It makes sense now that you mentioned it that it would be connected to that, but I didn't think of that. Oh my god.
It might not be all hotels, but it was certainly this one. They also gave me a code for the Wi-Fi, but they could only give me up to a week at a time, so I had to go after a week and get a new code and then reconnect all my devices.
I guess that's what people don't mooch off their Wi-Fi, but that's such a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you aren't usually in a hotel for more than a week, so I get it, but
Yeah.
if you are, then ugh.
Felt weird to be in a hotel for so long and not be on like vacation.
Yeah. Starts to feel
But-
kind of like a home in a weird
It did.
way.
It did have a kitchenette. I cooked a couple times, but I mean, let's be real. I wasn't cooking most of the time. They had like delivery food services like DoorDash, and I don't get that where I live. So I was
she
like,
got spoiled.
bro, this rocks.
Yeah. What's really funny is this does not segue into the topic at all.
It rarely does.
Not at all. Shit, I wish it did. I think this gives me an idea of what to talk about in the future, though. Today's topic is actually, because it happened this morning, I was woken up rudely awoken by my dogs. We're gonna talk about pet disasters.
Yeah,
Or
baby.
adventures. And also they do not have to be your own stories. Like you can, if you don't have any stories, you can mention like things you've seen online or in videos or something. Because I know I've had my fair share of shitty, no pun intended, stuff that happened with my dogs.
Yes.
Oh my god.
I've had lots of shitty, pun intended, stuff happen with my dog.
Yeah. Yeah, I can start us off also if you guys need time to think, because literally this morning I was woken up at 9 a.m. To my mom being like, what the fuck? And apparently I've not seen it. I didn't go downstairs. I just went back to sleep after a little bit. I was nosy, so I stayed up until I figured out what happened, but it turned out my dog shit on a rug. And it's one of those rugs that has like the Velcro kind of hooks in it. Like I don't know how to describe it,
Oh,
but it's
no,
yeah.
dude. That's like the
Yeah.
worst. Do you have like steam cleaner?
Yes, I think my mom might
Okay.
have fixed the rug. She's either gonna try like clean it or she's just gonna buy another one.
Yeah, I would just buy a new one. I'd be like, fuck that.
Because that's
Yeah.
what happened last time. This is the second time this has happened. This time's worse apparently though, because last time it was just like a shit on the rug and that was fine. It's not fine, but it wasn't anywhere else. This time I think the dogs, like both of them, stepped in it and tracked shit around the entire first floor of the house. Because all I heard was my mom was like, "Oh my god, it's everywhere! You fucking dogs!" I was like, oh my god. And then I was like, wait, what's everywhere? And I was like staying up to try to figure it out. And then later she was like, I can't believe these dumb bitches just shit everywhere. And she also just got a nose job, so she had to wake my brother up. Thankfully she didn't wake me up, but I heard her open my brother's door and be like, hey, so I can bend down and clean this up. I'm sorry to wake you up, but can you come downstairs and clean this up? And so I'm gonna ask her about it today, but apparently there was just shit everywhere, and I'm very glad I didn't wake up to that because
Yeah, I'm sleeping.
Yeah, right. Keeping like one eye open though to hear what's going on, but
One eye.
It's rough because one of my dogs is currently recovering from a UTI. So she's also been pissing everywhere.
Yeah.
We've been setting up like pee mats, her little potty mats, so it's been helping a bunch. She's getting good at like peeing on them, so there's not a lot of pee like on the floor. It's just on the mat. But then she's been pooping a few times now too. So now we're starting to think she's just senile. We were like, okay, it's probably a UTI, but now also it might just be she's a senile old bitch. because she's pooped a few times, and she also steps in it. So she definitely was the first dog to poop and step in it, and then I'm assuming little baby dog also probably stepped in it. I'm gonna have to ask my mom how bad it was, because this is not the first time one of our dogs has shit everywhere in the house. It just like ruined the carpet or mat. Hopefully they don't go on the couch anymore. One of the dogs used to go on the couch, so I'm hoping that like she didn't step in shit and then go on the couch. My mom was pretty mad this morning, so I'm assuming it was pretty bad. But I'm gonna have to ask her, because I just minded my business. I was like, you know what? I don't want to see that.
I don't need to know.
I don't need to know. That was a great way to wake up. I heard her yell, and I was like, uh-oh. This isn't just pee. This is something else. Surely enough, it was poop. A lot of it, apparently.
I would prefer to clean up poop normally if it's on like the floor, but not on a mat. But like on a mat, it's just, it depends. Any feces or pee pee on the mat or puke. It's like we have so little carpet in our house because we have had dogs our entire life. And also my parents had 3 children, and my mom hates carpet, so we ripped out all of our carpet, and so we just have like a rug in the living room and like a mat at the front and back door for your shoes. And those motherfuckers like will literally hunt down any piece of rug that they can find to like poop and pee and puke on it, and it's like, why are you doing this to me?
Yeah, no, that sounds right. They always go for the fucking mats.
They
rugs,
always
carpet,
do.
anything.
Yeah.
And like, there's so much tile and hardwood floor in this house. Please, please. If you poop there, it's easy. One pickup, and then clean that spot, and it's done. You poop on the mat or the rug or the carpet, that carpet's destroyed. Or it will never be the same. Maybe it won't be destroyed, but that carpet will never recover no matter how much we clean it. There's always going to be like a bit of like a stain or a trauma that's been baked into it.
Yeah, I know. We actually got a smaller like mat for our living room, because we had like a mat, and then we had the coffee table on it, and as our dog got older, she was like peeing a lot on the floor, and she would always pee on the mat. And so we got one it's only like an inch bigger than the coffee table itself. And she tried. She really just would try to get on there and pee right next to it. And I'm like, you're such a stop.
They're little shitheads.
Yeah, they are.
I love them, but God.
I think it's because it's the closest thing to grass.
I think so. It's definitely something with like their instincts. Also, it's probably more comfortable for them, you know? It's softer, has a little more cushion, but I'm like, dude, please.
Stop.
Please, I get it, but like I don't want you to ruin all our carpets.
It's also a grip thing, because they can hold on better than
Yeah.
hardwood.
It's true, because hardwood's so slippy.
I don't have a whole lot, because it's one of those. I mean, Adrian's dog, Newton, who is a major fucking asshole. Like, that is the dog I'm still working on to be like, yo, we got to break these bad behaviors. And I was a dog trainer for years, and he's still just like, you little chihuahua bitch.
Yeah.
He's recently, and it was one of those, at first I couldn't really say anything because the temperature was -22 Fahrenheit. But still,
Jesus,
it's too cold for a chihuahua to be going out on a walk. So he like came down to my area and was like shitting on my rug and pissing on my rug, and I had to buy a fucking carpet cleaner. We didn't have one. Hasn't been an issue for the last year. And he's just been coming down here and going. And it was one of those, at first, I can't get mad. Like, it's too cold. It's like, bitch, it's 50 degrees and sunny right now. If you come down here, I'm going to punt you back outside. Like, don't you fucking dare. Other than that, like, the cats don't really... Okay, hang on. I will say, her cat, I don't know what the fuck it is, why they just insist on eating the most inedible things they can find, like plastic bags, and how she will commit any form of arson, any crime, to get a plastic bag to eat.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Cats are also little shitheads. Most animals are.
Okay, then. All right, she came downstairs and got right next to me and did a thing where she pointed at her eyes and pointed at me and walked away. I'm like, heard me talking.
She heard you talking.
Yeah,
shit.
she was like, "You were talking about me?
It's
I heard my name."
basically. But yeah, I don't like my cat doesn't do that. She doesn't try to go eat like plastic. She'll do some sketchy shit for like a chip, just like regular potato chip. She fucking loves them. She loves to sit there and just lick them, but she won't go eat plastic.
How was like my old cats? She also really liked potato chips. Most of my cats did actually. They were like obsessed with it, but they would never actually eat it. They would just like to lick it and like sniff it and rub against it. I'm like, okay, now I can't eat this.
Freya will lick it and then start to eat it.
My dogs will.
Huh.
They love that shit.
Yeah. Oh, my dogs definitely will. They're big food bitches. Oh my god. They're always so hungry.
Even my other dogs haven't really been. We haven't really had like a big accident with any of them, or like any other cats haven't done anything too destructive or too like messy. They've just kind of. I guess I got lucky. I've had animals that vibed more than anything.
Man, for the most part, I guess me too, but I've had a lot of funky animals that have interesting quirks and personalities. I have another shit story.
It's making me glad I never had one of these.
First dogs was sleeping in my brother's room in my old house, actually, which his room was carpeted, fully carpeted, like that ugly light gray carpet. It's kind of really funny now that I think back to it, now that it's done. But I woke up again. This was when we were both much younger, but I woke up to him like crying and both my parents like running in and out of the room and like, you know, not really panicking, but they're kind of frantic. And I was like, what's going on? And I woke up very late to it, thankfully, because I missed it again. But it turned out that in the middle of the night, that dog shit everywhere in his room.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Like walls, carpet, bed. So when he woke up, he was just surrounded by shit. And so he just like started immediately crying and calling out for my parents. And I wish till this day that I woke up early enough to like see the fully shit-filled room. Like I'm just so mad at myself I didn't wake up earlier because I wanted to see that so bad. I wanted to see my brother crying with shit surrounding him. Like, I don't know, that's just imagery I really want to see. And it was awful because it was by the time I woke up, it was mostly cleaned. Obviously, once again, it's carpet, so we actually ripped the carpet out of his room after that and gave him floors. But his room smelled so bad. It was fully cleaned as best as they could, but it's still just like, it was so strong of shit. Because it was like liquid too. It wasn't a solid shit this time. It was like diarrhea, and so it just spread everywhere. It was so bad. It was bad too because he slept with his door shut. And at the time, I don't think he had his window open or anything either. So he had like no circulation in his room. So I don't know how long the shit was in his room. Like, I don't know when she went to the washroom, but like he had like a solid few hours. I'm thinking of like the shit just baking in his room.
Gross.
That's awful.
I don't know how he didn't wake up earlier, but like he woke up. I think he woke up to go to the washroom or something, and just like it was hit immediately with just like the most rancid shit smell. Yeah, it was. I'm so glad it didn't happen to me. I'm really sad I didn't get to see it happen, but that was like the first instance I think we had of like a dog really just like, pun intended, losing their shit and just like using the world as their bathroom. And it was wild. I remember being like very sad because I was like, oh, that sucks. That I'm sorry, Jester, that you had to go through this. Oh, like That would have been so gross, and I'm so glad it happened to be. And then like a few years later, it's turned into the funniest thing, and I just like cackle at it now. It's so dumb. I am just so glad that that's never happened to me though, because now I have a carpeted room. My room in the new house has a carpet, and I'm just like, oh, well, the dogs don't go in my room when I'm asleep. That is my new rule after that happened. But I'm just glad that I've never woken up to a room full of shit. That's not, I think that ever the way I want to wake up. Oh my god, unless it's my own shit. I mean, even then I don't want to, but like it'd be better than my dog shitting all over my bed.
Yeah, I've definitely had some dog shitting and pissing experience.
Yeah.
We had 3 dogs, and we had our most dogs.
Oh my god.
But I mean, probably the biggest one that I remember that freaked me out. Like, I remember our dogs had never gotten UTIs before that we have known about, anyways.
Hmm.
And then there was just this one time when we had Mitzi before she died. I think it was like 6 months before we put her down. I guess she got a UTI at some point. And so I was having a sleepover with my friends at my house, and my parents were away for the weekend. And I went into the living room after we had ordered pizza, and there was just this big, like, giant puddle of blood in the kitchen. And I'm like, what the fuck? What? Where did this come from? And I was like, what? Hello? And I was like, and they came in and they were like, what is that? And I was like, I don't know. I think it's blood. Like, I can't tell. And then I was like, did that come from Mitzi? Like, what happened? And then, so we were like inspecting her, flipping her over and trying to figure out where the heck it came from. And then we noticed that her little pee-pee was like wet. And I was like, she must have peed it out. And I was like scared. I was so nervous because it was like there's no pee in there. That's all blood. And none of our dogs have ever had a UTI, and she is elderly. Like, she's 17 years old at the time. So I'm like, oh my god, she's dying. Like, this is it. She's gonna die tonight. So we all 3 of us drove to the emergency vet, which is half an hour away. So we don't have one where I live. So we had to drive to the emergency vet half an hour away at 12:30 a.m. And we sat there for like an hour, and I called in advance. I was like, how busy are you guys right now? And they were like, oh, we just have one dog that like I stepped in a bear trap or something, so his paw was bleeding. And we're sitting there and waiting, and then while we're sitting there, the nurse, like, vet, comes out, and she's like, yeah, so we just got a call. We have an emergency C-section coming in for a dog. So we're not gonna be able to see your dog probably for like another 5 hours or something if you just want to go home. And I was like, okay, I'm not sitting here for 5 hours. So we went home, and the whole night we were all so worried that Mitzi was just gonna die in her sleep. And
Understandably.
so, but she was like, me, and and so the next day, it's the weekend, and there's no vets are open on the weekend. It's only the emergency vet that's open on the weekend. And so I go back to the emergency vet at like 10 a.m. And I think I was there for 6 or 7 hours because they're on their low staff because it's the weekend, and it's separated by like it's like the ER. It's like the most dangerous situation. Like, the ones that are most damaged pets come in their priority. And outside, Mitzi looked fine. So we sat in the room, and I was not upset that I had to sit there for 7 hours, but Mitzi was so stressed out because she's really old. She's like mostly blind and deaf, and like she didn't know where she was. So I felt really bad that she was so stressed out. And then in the end, they were like, yeah, she probably has a bladder infection. and she might have kidney stones, but basically, like, you can take this medication now and then do a follow-up a week after the meds. If the meds don't clear it up, then we have to try something else. And thankfully, the meds did clear it up. Like, a week later, she was pissing fine. But that was like, I thought that was it. Thought she was just gonna die that night.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Understandable. That was the same with our dog when she got her UTI, because she peed blood and stuff, and we were like, she was peeing a lot, and we're like, oh, that's already concerning. Is she getting like to the point where she can't like control herself anymore? That's uh-oh. And then she started peeing blood, and we're like, oh, that's really bad. And then we took her in, and it was only a UTI, and we're like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
It's still
and that's
bad,
what
but like that's better.
That's what I figured it was, because she had stayed at my brother's place for a night, like the week prior.
Mm.
And his dog got a UTI as well. I was like calling and I was like, hey, has Ivy been feeling okay? And he was like, oh, she got a UTI. And I was like, okay. So apparently dogs cannot catch UTIs from each other. You get it from like bacteria that touches their little willy when they pee on the grass. So I don't know, maybe it was something in the grass, because they peed in the same grass and both got a UTI. And so I was like, okay, so it's probably a UTI. I think Mitzi's was more like serious than Ivy's, because Ivy's was still bloody, but not to the extent that Mitzi's was. But I was surprised. I was like, I feel like a week is not long enough to clear up this, because it was like really bloody. I didn't even think it was pee at first, but yeah, it cleared up, and she didn't get one after that, so I guess it worked.
Yeah.
I mean, I had to sit and think. Like I said, not a lot of my animals really had or have any issues. Back to the little annoying dog, though. He was trying to bully and hump his cat sister, and he turned around and, like, scratched his eyeball, and we had to put fucking it in the dog's eye for like 2 weeks.
No.
And the ointment made him constipated.
Oh, yeah.
No.
So I was just like, oh, this is fun. Just hold him and I'll pry his eyelid open and just... It's like a fucking creamy ointment you have to put in the eye. And it was really hard to get out of the tube. And once it hit the eye, it was like, how do I like break this without shaking it? Because your eyeball's like right there and open.
Yeah.
And then take him out constantly, just like, all right, gotta make him go to the bathroom. He hasn't shit in 4 days. Like, well, here's day 5, no shit. And then day 6, the pile's bigger than him. It's like, oh my god.
Oh, poor baby was made out of like 90% shit.
He really was.
That happened to that also happened to Mitzi, I think, just because she had gotten older. This was like a month after her UTI.
Oh, she can't get her break. Oh my god.
She couldn't poop for like 4 days, and I was like, I gotta take her to the vet if she can't poop anymore, because she's gonna get like a infection. But she did end up pooping. I think the issue was that it was at that point, this is like pretty like a few months before we put her down. It was too hard on her legs because she had really bad hips to like squat.
Yeah.
So she was just like avoiding pooping, so I think it was hard for her.
Yeah, that makes sense. I have a non-shit story. So before I got my current dog, Blue, the baby of the house, we were looking for a dog that was compatible with our older one, the one that's pissing and shitting everywhere. Cause she's decently socialized with animals, but we got her from a hoarder, like an animal hoarder situation. Like, she was recovered from that, and the place we got her from like was fostering her. And so she wasn't totally socialized properly. So she's good with dogs and she's good with all animals and everything, but she just doesn't get some of the etiquette and stuff like that. So she's a little too rough when she plays, or she doesn't understand like personal space, like kind of stuff like that, where like it could set another dog off if you don't get the right dog with her. So we had to go through a lot of like foster dogs to see if like they would work with her, either if they were too much for her or she was too much for them, because we didn't want that. We wanted them to be like equal and deal with each other's bullshit. And we had this dog who was another rescue dog, but this dog was a rescue dog from a meat market. So this dog escaped the cages from the meat market, and it managed to get saved and taken to a pound and then foster care. Very sweet dog. He was actually doing really good with Tico, our older dog. They were very compatible. They were both high energy, and they didn't piss each other off when they were meeting and hung out with each other. So we're like, okay, we'll give him a chance. We'll do a foster. He was a real cute dog too. Everything was going fine. He was a little crazy because obviously he had trauma from being fucking a meat dog and being locked in a cage and being like mistreated. So he didn't like being like locked inside. So we were going to have to work on leaving him alone, slowly but surely, because we had lives and we can always be home with him, and we needed to make sure that he wasn't going to like fuck shit up and destroy stuff while being left home alone thinking he was trapped. And so one day I was home alone with one of my best friends, and she had to go, and so I was like, okay, I'll walk you to the bus stop. It was like a 5-minute walk, so I was like, okay, I think 5 minutes should be fine if I leave this dog here. He has the other dog, you know, it's all good. It's just 5 minutes, I'll be back quick. Go to walk my friend to the bus stop. I walk back, and I see my mom's upstairs screen in her window knocked out, and our dog is on the street with our neighbors being held onto, and they're like, is this your dog? And I was like, yeah, what the fuck happened? They were like, so he threw himself out the window of the second story.
Oh my god.
And he seems to be fine, and he landed fine and everything. And I was like, oh my god. I was like, this is like, are you serious? Like, he jumped out the window, and they're like, yeah, why, like, what happened? And I was like, I left for like 5 minutes to walk my friend to the bus stop. I did not expect this. He's like a newer dog. Like, we're just fostering him right now and see how it goes. I was like, I was not expecting him to jump out the fucking window though. And they're like, yeah, maybe. Oh, they were pissing me off too. They were like, yeah, well, maybe you should take better care of your dog, or like look after them better. And I'm like, bitch, I literally left for 5 minutes. I know that's my bad, but I wasn't expecting my dog to throw itself out the window. I'm like, what? I was not expecting that. I've never ever in my entire life had an animal throw themselves out a window like that. And so I was like, okay, yeah, whatever. Like, thanks for getting my dog. I was getting mad at this point. I was like, don't scald me. My dog just threw himself out a window. Like, I want to make sure my dog's okay. I don't need you guys to berate me. So I bring him inside. Everything's okay. The window was like, her blinds were all fucked up, and the window was all scratched up because he was really trying to get out. But that was so insane to me. We obviously did not keep him. We wanted to, but we were we genuinely cannot deal with this. If we were a little more homebodied and didn't have to like leave the house so much, we probably could have kept him, because then we could have kept someone in the house with him more and like broke him in a bit more. But oh my god, it was so surreal. I still remember it so vividly, just being so shocked seeing he was like happy panting on the ground too. Like, he was just so happy after he got out. It was so insane. I was like, holy fuck. And it was not a big dog either. He was decently small. Like, he was a small to medium-sized dog. So this bitch threw himself out a second-story window and was okay for being a tiny dog. And oh my god. I remember calling my mom and be like, I don't think we can keep this dog. Unless we want to deal with, like, barricading the windows every time we leave the house. That was wild. Holy shit. My heart dropped too, because of course I was like, oh my god, is the dog okay? And he was fine. Yeah, no limp, no nothing. We got him checked at the vet before we like stopped fostering him to make sure, and he was totally fine. It was just insane. Jesus Christ. Moral of the story is, don't get a meat market dog unless you're like fully prepared to get a meat market dog, because they are traumatized, understandably so. And they might throw themselves out a second-story window. Maybe.
That's a big mood.
And it only takes 5 minutes.
It's a risk you're willing to take.
Yeah. Yeah, if we had more homebodies in the house, I think we would have kept him because he was a sweet dog. But that was just a lot. It was like an action movie shit. Mission Impossible.
Yeah, he's like, I'm getting the hell out of here.
Oh my god.
We had one of our dogs, Maggie. This was quite a while ago because we inherited her from my grandpa, and she was already like, I think she was already like 10 at the time when we got her, and we only had her for 5 years before we had to put her down. And it was quite a while ago, but my parents had a party one weekend and they left the gate open, and we trained our dogs well, like they didn't run away. My grandpa was a trucker, so he took Maggie with him on like when he was on his truck. So she was very poorly trained, and she did run away. And so she left in the middle of the night.
Oh,
and like
damn.
everyone was nobody knew, but I was in bed. My parents, everybody was drunk. And I was looking for Maggie in the morning, and the gate was open, and I was like, fuck, like she ran away. And so I went and like I spent like 2 hours looking for her, and I'm like, she probably ran away at like midnight, and at this point it's like 10 a.m. Like she could have gone across the entire city. I'm like, I'm probably never gonna see this dog again. Like she's gone forever. And one of our like not neighbors, but like it was a block away ish down the street was working on his car in his garage, and I was like, hey, have you seen like a little black miniature poodle? We lost our dog last night. And he was like, no, I haven't seen anything, but I'll let you know. And I was like, okay. And I spent more time looking for her, and then I came home, and the guy was at our house, and I didn't know at the time we have like, you know how cities or towns will have like a community Facebook page where people will just post stuff about the town. I didn't know we had one of those. Neither did my parents, but we have one. And someone had posted that they found our dog, and they were only like a block away. Like in the middle of the night, they happened to be outside, and our dog just rolled up and was like,
He's like, hey, man.
Hey.
And it was actually a town counselor found our dog and was like, does anybody know whose dog this is? And the guy was like, is this your guys' dog? You said it was like a black miniature poodle. I'm like, yeah, that's Maggie. And so we ended up going to get her. And I was like, damn, like that was lucky because she like when she goes, she does not stop. And it was pretty close. It was only a couple blocks away that she got. But she would not like come home. If she got out, like she would just go and she would keep going. It was the summer, so like at least we don't have to worry about her freezing to death. But
that's true.
I was like, we might never get this dog back.
Yeah.
But luckily we found her the same day, so. And I chewed out my parents for leaving the gate open.
Yeah, that's what happened with our dog. Literally the same story. Gate was left open. I think it was my dad. Shocker. And my dog ran away. She was a bigger dog. This is the one that shit in my brother's room. And she ran away, and we were like, oh my god. Whole day spent looking for her, and then luckily we found her somewhere in like a neighboring neighborhood. Like it was kind of close by. And we got her back, thankfully, and she was fine. Everything was okay. It was also during the summer, so we weren't worried about her, like, freezing to death. But we were, like, right beside a road, like, a really busy street. So we were really worried about her getting hit by a car. But we found her the same day and then scolded the fuck out of my dad and being like, how? It's, like, the one rule of the house is leaving the gate shut. Like, it's just, like, the thing to do. Like, common sense. The doors in the house you can leave open. Oopsies, the dog gets out, but then the gates need to stay shut in case that happens, because otherwise she's fully getting out. And just like Maggie, she's going to keep running because she loves going out and running.
Yeah.
She's gone. Yeah.
So we got very lucky.
Dog had a lot of energy. She's just gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
My other dog, Amber, there was like our back fence is pretty old. And eventually, like, the boards were just, like, falling apart. It still is. We have not replaced it. And there was, like, a hole forming. And Amber is very small. She was a toy poodle. And so she's, like, teensy tiny. And she's very sneaky. And the number of times that bitch fit between the fucking boards and that fence and went into our neighbor's backyard, she would always come back. But she'd go off and just hang out in our neighbor's backyard. And I'm like, Amber, stop. Put boards up. And she would like knock the boards over so that she could get it into our neighbor's backyard. And I'm like, you're such a shithead. And we ended up having nail boards all along the bottom of our fence so that she couldn't get, and she would literally scratch at them so that, like, so wanting to get let out. And she also, in the summertime, when she wanted to be let in, like, our dogs know they have to, like, scratch at the door to be let in. And we have, next to our door, it's, like, connected, we have, like, a window that you can, like, one of those ones that you crank open and it has the screen in it.
Oh, yeah.
And she would scratch at the screen and make a doggy door for herself by ripping the screen open. And for her, it was like, I was like, this is why we should just get a doggy door, because she used it. She went outside and came back in whenever she wanted. She's having a great time. Every summer, we'd get another screen door. Didn't matter. She would rip it and use it as a doggy door. And eventually we were like, whatever. Like, she can have
obviously
it.
wants a doggy door. She can have it, right?
She can have it. Mitzi was stupid, so she would not use it. Amber would literally, they would both be outside and they'd both want inside, and Amber would just walk in and Mitzi's,
oh my.
I'm like, oh my god, just go through the stupid ripped open.
Your sister made a hole for you both. Use
Dumbass.
it. My god.
She's stupid.
And my dog didn't scratch. She'd just run through the screen until it broke and then just walk through it. So we just had a screen door that was like a flap because she'd just run through it. And then we'd try to fix it and she'd just run through it again. We're like, great, okay. We're going to open the door for you if you wait. You know, you just do that instead.
Or make her own door.
Oh, she makes her own door, yeah.
One time my friend was dog sitting and their back door was like a solid door, and just the you know the doors that have like a window near the top of the door, and that can be like that's screened and you can like push up on it to like open the window or whatever.
Oh god, I see where this is going.
This big dog literally made a dog door out of it and would jump through the window in the door to get in and out of the house. I'm like, what do you and they were like, yeah, we just let it happen now.
Yeah, sometimes you just have to. It sucks, but sometimes a dog is so stuck in their ways.
Yeah.
You could try your best to train it, but they're gonna just do it the same way they always have.
That's
we
like
just took the screen door down. We're like, okay, you could just walk in, I guess.
Yeah. That's like my brother's dog. Once she learned that she can just jump over her dog pen, it was game over. Like,
oh yeah,
that was it. Pepper has not figured out that she could very easily just jump over her baby gate that keeps her in kitchen jail. But when she does, that will be the end of times. That's all we have left in our defenses. My auntie's dog, when she comes over, can just go underneath it because it's like a little tiny gap and it's like a little itsy bitsy shih tzu.
Oh.
She squeezes her way underneath.
She just squeezes under. God, I love dogs, but they're little shits.
They are.
One more quick one for me. Oh, wait, sorry, what?
Honestly, I don't think I have anything else.
Damn, you suck. I win this episode.
Anyways, oh, yeah, that's gonna be yeah.
Shit. Well, I'll tell another one then. One of my old cats was a feral cat we found in our garage when she was a kitten. And she was nobody else's. She was just a stray, and we took her in because we at the time had the dog that shit everywhere, and we had an older cat. So we're like, yeah, we can have another cat, sure. We took her in. She was very feral, but she loved me and my mom. So like everyone else in the house, she really didn't like that much. But me and my mom, she put up with. So we were the ones that could get closer to her, and she was very sweet to us. But because she was so feral, she was a big scavenger for food. So we couldn't leave anything out on the countertop, like even wrapped up, because she would get it. Saran wrap wouldn't stop her. Ziplocs wouldn't stop her. Like, she would find a way to get it. She once opened like a Tim Hortons Timbit box, which is a box that has like, it's a system that like animals should not be able to get into. Like, the handles are like locked into the sides of the box. She managed to open that shit and steal some Timbits, because you would see like a half-bitten Timbit on like the countertop, and like there's like a trail of crumbs, and we're like, oh my god, how did you deserve the Timbit after all that work you went through, so we're not even gonna get like, whatever, eat it. But one time we were like during cooking, or like just after cooking was finished, there was a big bone left over from one of the like meats my mom was cooking. And I think my mom was, she was just finished cooking, like just about to put the food on the table. And she turns around, and within like the second that she turned around to like plate the food or get everything ready to put on the table, she gets up on the countertop and steals the big, like it's a giant bone, like the same size as her fucking head. She grabs it and runs away, and she's like dragging it on the floor because it's such a big bone, she could barely hold it. But she runs away, and then so we are trying to chase her because it's like so covered in sauces and stuff, so she's like getting sauces all over the house. This fucking bitch is running around the entire house, like looping us and dodging us with this huge bone scratching on the ground. And it was like a 5-minute chase because she was an absolute little weasel, and she could sneak into anywhere in any place. And we did eventually get it back, but when we got it back, we tried to grab it, and she did the cat thing where she like she gurs. And we're like, dude, you can't even have this bone. Like, there's no reason for you to have this. Don't get mad at us. You're not gonna be able to do anything with this. She's like, it's mine, give me. And so we eventually got it back, but then she was like constantly, after that day, we had to be extra careful because she was constantly like waiting for another opportunity like that to come up. It was insane. I loved her. She was an angel to me and my mom once again, but god damn it, our feral cat's hard because they will do anything to get some extra food.
That reminds me, the one time I made cheese crackers and meat, and I left it on the coffee table for like 2 seconds to go into the kitchen to like get my iced tea. And in that time frame, Amber jumped on to the coffee table, and she pushed half of it off onto the ground because she had to feed her dear sister Mitzi, and Mitzi could not get on the coffee table, so she had to take care of her dear sister Mitzi. So she pushed half of it on the ground for Mitzi to eat, and then she ate all the cheese. I literally was gone for like 1 minute to pour myself iced tea, and I came back in. All the cheese is gone. Half the meat is gone. Mitzi's like having the best day of her life. I'm like, I could kill myself. I just cut all that meat and cheese, and now you ate it.
Yeah, that sounds about right. That sounds about right.
Sneaky. She was funny too, because she would hide food, like treats. So we would give her a treat, and then she would go and hide it, and then forget where she put it. So my mom, all the time, one of her favorite spots to hide stuff was underneath my mom's pillow. So my mom sometimes, like in the middle of the night, would like be moving around, and she would be like, "What?" And there's like a treat or like a bone underneath her pillow. Like,
that's so fucked. That's also what one of my animals used to do. I think it was my mom's pillow. Also, there's just randomly be stuff underneath it, and she's like, "What?" I can't remember who did it though. It was one of my animals. I just remember that was a thing that also happened. It wasn't super common, but we had a few times where she had something under her pillow, and she was like, "What the fuck? Where did this come from?" And we're like, "Oh, I think they're trying to like hide it in like a safe spot or like a stash. You should be honored. It's your pillow."
Yeah, but they're too stupid to like figure out, like remember where they hid it. So
yeah, because then they leave it, and then you find it. You're like, what?
Yeah, then you sit on a bone.
Yeah.
I sat on more than one bone in my day.
Yeah. Damn, I really got nothing else.
Shit.
I had well-behaved pets.
No shit. Oh my god.
Like, the worst I could think that would happen is a cat would get out, but they never actually went far. They would just go to the grass and lay down. I was like, all right, well, pick them up and take them back in. Or a dog would get out, but I trained the dogs well, so they would just stand there, wait.
Most of my animals were pretty good, but there's a few that they pulled some shit. Pun intended again. Lots of shit.
Yeah, if you don't like cleaning up shit, don't get animals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they will shit. Or if you don't like cleaning up shit, make sure you don't have any carpets. So at least when they shit on like hardwood floors and they're easier to clean up.
Yeah.
This is true.
It's still not great, but it's better than cleaning up carpets. Yeah, I was gonna go with a different topic today, but then I woke up to my mom yelling at my dogs for shitting. And I was like, oh, I know what I want to talk about.
Thanks, Mom. This gives me a great idea for my podcast.
Yeah, this gives me a great topic. Thank you so much. Well, I think we know who the winner is. Purely based on the fact that Farah had more experiences. Well, once again, actually, who's the true winner here? Because Westy had to deal with less shit.
That is true.
You know?
Sure.
I had to deal with
That's true.
less.
You might have lost the episode, but in the grand scheme of things, you won.
I lost the episode, but I won at life.
You won at life because your animals have not shit everywhere or jumped out a second-story window, or they've been relatively normal, actually.
Yeah, I was gonna say they're all pretty normal. They've done like funny things, but nothing like too. The only other thing I can think of that wasn't, it's not any form of like bad for me, it was just really fucking funny, was Freya, my fat calico's upstairs. In my old house, we had a tree that was right outside our window. It wasn't a big tree, it was like planted a few years ago at that point, so it's like just taller than me, but there's birds making a nest in there. We had the blinds up because it was nice and sunny. Freya saw the birds. We started hearing the little like kind of eek thing they do when they see a bird.
Yeah.
Got real low. And then she took off at a full sprint as fast as she could, jumped, hit the window, and accordioned into herself. And she like landed on the windowsill, and she hit it so hard she stood there for a second and then laid down and looked at the birds just like, ow. And those birds were watching her, so you knew it was like, ooh, that's gonna be some added embarrassment because they saw everything. That was really it. She didn't do it again after that. It was just like, all right, well.
I love that. Oh, I love it, but also I always feel bad. I'm like, oh, you poor baby. Oh, you poor dum-dum.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have fully watched my dog like walk into a pool.
Yeah. I have pit bulls, so they don't feel a lot of pain, but they'll like fully like slam themselves into a wall or like hit a corner of the wall, like full on, like you can hear the hollow of their head bonk. And they just don't react. They like shake off a little bit and they just like smile at you. And I'm like, dude, are you okay? You're like fucking concussed right now. And they're like, I'm so happy to see you. And I'm like, oh my God, I think I would be dead after that hit. Shit. Oh my God. They're so silly. But yeah, winner's speech for Farah.
If you own pets that aren't in cages, don't have carpet in your house. Otherwise, you best be buying a steam cleaner.
Yeah.
You're gonna need it.
Yeah, whether it's poop, pee, or puke, or even just hair. They get fur everywhere, and carpet's really bad
yeah,
for
if you
fur.
have shedding dogs, yeah.
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 That'll do it too.
Must you lose your speech? Oh, wait.
No, that's probably it.
Okay.
Shout out to all the dogs that I've ever owned.
Yeah, you know what? Shout out to all my pets who were not messy, who didn't really make my life harder, who just kind of vibed. Y'all may have lost me this episode, but you've really won me a lot of time I didn't have to use cleaning up shit and piss and whatnot.
Yeah.
That's life, baby.
Yeah. You lived a life. You had pets and they weren't shitting everywhere. That's a win.
It's like once they get past that initial puppy kitten phase, they never did it again. So it was like, I can't really get mad at like babies for having an accident. It wasn't ever like,
yeah.
it was like one turd that was an inch away from the potty pad, like, all right, pick it up and move along.
Yeah. Shout out to my animals. Happy medium. Some of them are awful. Some of them jump out windows. Some of them are great. I mean, they're all great. But like in terms of like shitting and puking everywhere, a lot of my animals did that, and I was like, oh, okay, thanks. Thank you so much. Well, with that, thank you guys for listening to another episode of the Unintelligibles. You can find Westy on all socials at WestyHCC, Farah on all socials as Farah the Bat, and me, the odd one out, Arva on Twitch and Arva_69 everywhere else. Thank you guys so much for listening or watching, depending on where you're seeing this from. Happy 1 year anniversary again. Thank you guys so much for listening and supporting us for a whole year. I hope you guys have been enjoying what we've been doing. Hopefully there's more years in the future. Yeah, I'm so sorry. Also at the same time, you know, you're welcome, but also I'm sorry.
They knew what they were getting into.
Yeah, do you know what? I'm sorry unless you know what you're getting into, which is most of you. So I'm not super sorry because, you know, you should have known if you know us. If you know any of us, you should have known.
Yeah.
But we'll see you guys on the next episode. Thank you guys again for listening. Bye-bye.
Bye.